One wrong move in airport security and you could find yourself facing thousands of dollars of fines and even missing your flight entirely. And this year, the rules have changed dramatically. The first mistake that could hit your wallet is not having real ID compliant identification. The grace period's over now and the TSA is not messing around anymore. A standard state-issued driver's license is no longer sufficient for adults traveling domestically in the US. You now need one of the following that I'll put here on the screen. If you don't have one of these, you're not going to get through security, at least not without your wallet taking a hit. If you don't have the proper ID, the TSA introduced something called TSA Confirm ID. This is a $45 non-refundable fee to attempt to verify your ID manually. But even if they can't verify and you don't get to fly, you still pay that $45. The process takes up to 30 minutes of additional screening time. It's only valid for a 10-day window, and so for longer trips, you might get hit twice, and there's no guarantee they'll be able to verify your identity at all. So now is the time to get that real ID if you don't have it already, not when you're at the airport. That said, this $45 fine is nothing compared to the fines for some of the other mistakes we'll cover in this video. The next mistake can get your luggage delayed or left behind. Lithium batteries, including power banks, are now completely banned from checked luggage. This includes phone charger cases with built-in batteries, external battery packs, and anything with a lithium-ion battery that's not permanently installed into the device. These all must go in your carry-on only. If the TSA finds a power bank in your checked bag, they'll pull your bag, and depending on the timing, it may get left behind while you're already waiting on the plane. The confusing part is that airlines have also come out with a bunch of new rules regarding power banks in your carry-ons. So make sure you're aware of your airline's specific rules before you pack them. Also, if you have one of those smart suitcases with built-in charging or GPS, you have to make sure that your battery is removable. If it's not removable, your bag won't be able to travel in the cabin or the cargo hold, so you won't be able to fly with it at all. By the way, if you're tired of forgetting what to pack or always second-guessing yourself, I built a free customizable packing list tool that automatically builds a packing list for you based on your trip type and trip length. Link in the description. This next TSA mistake involves a touchy topic: biometrics and facial recognition. The TSA is releasing touchless ID in 65 major airports across the US by spring 2026. The system takes a live photo of your face and compares it to your passport photo in the government databases. For TSA pre-check members, this can verify your identity in less than 10 seconds without having to hand over your ID. But here's what they're not always telling you: this is completely voluntary. You can simply tell the TSA officer, I opt out of the facial recognition, and then they'll process your ID manually. You don't lose your spot in line, you don't get flagged, you just have to go through the old-fashioned way. The TSA claims that images are only stored in their system for 24 hours and they aren't shared with law enforcement, but you still have the right to say no. On the flip side, if you don't care and you want the fastest experience possible, TSA PreCheck plus touchless ID with a mobile boarding pass will allow you to skip the podium entirely. The next mistake is creating massive confusion because not all airports use the same equipment anymore.
Every airport has different machines, so if you're not listening, it's going to delay the process for you.
Never autopilot through security, assuming that every airport works the same way. Some checkpoints have new CT scanners where you leave your laptops and liquids inside your bag. Others still use the old-fashioned X-ray machines where you still have to take out your laptops and liquids and other things. Basically, it's a total crapshoot. You might go through one airport where everything stays inside your bag, then you go to the next airport where you're getting yelled at to take everything out. So never make assumptions, look for signs, and just listen to what those agents are hollering at you as you're walking through it. But even in those high-tech CT scanner lanes, there's another mistake that's causing a bunch of bag searches unnecessarily. It's the dense mass packing error. When you throw all your chargers, cables, tablets, and batteries into one tight pouch, it can create a solid mass that even CT scanners can't penetrate. This will lead to your bag getting pulled for a search. I've only had this happen once or twice, and I'd personally rather risk it than being all disorganized, having my cables and electronics and everything scattered all over my bag. But if you really want to minimize your risk of a bag check, then just avoid stacking electronics and a bunch of metal things on top of each other, and make sure to like and subscribe this video for more up-to-date travel tips. Now for some good news. The Department of Homeland Security now officially ended the shoes off policy for standard security lanes. They say that new floor sensors and improved scanning algorithms can now detect threats in shoes without you having to remove them. But TSA officers still have discretion. Heavy boots, platform shoes, or anything with metal shanks will still likely trigger alarms. My recommendation is to still use easy to slip on metal-free shoes. You'll move through faster and avoid awkward holdups. And speaking of awkward holdups, please, 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 for the love of all jelly beans, remove everything from all of your pockets before going through the scanner. These full body scanners detect everything. Cash, receipts, a random gum wrapper. If there's anything in your pocket, you're probably gonna get a pat down. I like to consolidate everything in my Scotty vest jacket pockets before I even get to the security line. That way when I get to the front, I just whip off my entire jacket, roll it up, and chuck it in the bin. This not only makes things way more streamlined, but it also helps prevent theft at TSA checkpoints. These checkpoints are an opportunistic thief's dream come true, especially in chaotic lines with frazzled, disorganized passengers throwing wallets, passports, phones, and jewelry all loosey-goosey into the bins. Compare that to someone who uses something like a Scotty vest that has 20 plus pockets and has everything zipped up before they even get to security. Everything valuable goes into the interior zippered pockets. Phone, passport, wallet, AirPods, done. My valuables never see daylight, so any opportunistic thieves near me don't even know what I'm carrying. And when you're finished at TSA, just grab your jacket, and now you have everything organized and easy access for the rest of your flight. You can get 20% off any Scotty Vest product using the link in the description and telling their customer support chat that Project Untethered sent you. Big thanks to Scotty Vest for sponsoring this video. Speaking of protecting your valuables, don't go through the body scanner until you have personally pushed through all of your own bins with your valuables bin going in last, even if that means holding up the line. That way they won't be vulnerable sitting out unattended on the other side of the x-ray machine while you're still waiting in line. And if you have a medical device and know that you're gonna need a pat down, then send your travel partner through first. I have an implanted device for my heart, so I always send my wife Diane ahead of me to gather my stuff while security's feeling me up. But if you're traveling solo with a medical device and it's stressing you out, you can contact TSA Cares 72 hours before your flight, and they'll assign a dedicated officer to assist you through the checkpoint. By the way, if you're flying internationally, don't make the mistake of assuming that the rules are going to be the same as they are in the US. For example, in Europe, certain airports have different liquids rules and limits. And in other countries, you have to be extra careful with your medication, which we'll get to in a second. Basically, never assume that your departure rules are the same as your return trip. Always check the specific airport that you're flying through. Before we get into some more mistakes that'll get you hassled in the TSA line, let's talk about two big checked bags mistakes. First, if you're traveling with a gift for someone, never wrap it and then put it in your checked bag. If your bag happens to be one of the 70,000 plus bags that TSA opens every single day, then they're just gonna tear that wrapping paper off. Instead, you can just use a gift bag or wrap it once you arrive. Second, if you wanna secure your bag, I'd advise not using those TSA friendly locks. The TSA isn't always exactly friendly towards these locks, and other countries may not even approve them at all, so you may arrive to your destination with either your lock broke off or your entire zipper broken off. Locks that are hanging off your zipper also tend to get stuck in the automatic conveyor belts, and those can rip them off also. Because of this, I like to use a tight but not too tight cable tie to secure my checked bags. It doesn't draw attention from thieves, but it's still easy enough for TSA to cut off without damaging anything. Just remember to pack some nail clippers or TSA approved mini scissors in your personal item so that when you arrive, you can cut off your own cable ties. The next mistake is one I have tons of personal experience with, and that is using your phone in the TSA area. I always try to get video shots of TSA whenever I fly so I can use them in my videos. But they hate this. I've never not been yelled at and told to stop. The kicker is though that according to TSA official policy, photography and filming are actually permitted in the TSA areas as long as you're not impeding or holding up the line or recording the x-ray screens. So technically you are allowed to use your phone, but in my opinion, this is one of those pick your battle situations. If you get on a TSA agent's bad side, they can make your life and trip extra stressful. So know your rights, but also know when exercising those rights might cause a huge headache. Here's the single most expensive mistake that you can make in airport security. And it might seem obvious, but over 6,000 people make this mistake per year and have to pay the price. Do not attempt to pass through airport security with a firearm or even parts of a firearm in your carry-on. The TSA can fine you you up to $17,062 per violation, plus a mandatory criminal referral. And in some states, they'll also revoke your right to carry. These penalties also apply to gun parts. Gun parts like frames, receivers, and 3D printed components are all considered legal firearms with the same steep penalties. The only legal way to transport a firearm is unloaded in a locked, hard-sided case and declared at check-in for checked luggage only. So if you own a gun, do a super thorough check of all your bags before you leave for the airport, because the "I forgot it was in there" excuse isn't going to work. Unless you've never traveled before, you probably already heard of the 311 liquids rule, but there's one small mistake that's still easy to make. Liquids must be in containers that are 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or less, but the key word here is containers, not how full that container is. For example, a 5-ounce toothpaste tube that's only a quarter of the way full could still be confiscated. The TSA can't verify the exact amount by eyeballing it, and so they just go what's listed on the package. So make sure the package itself says 3.4 ounces or less. To be honest though, I personally kind of ignore this rule once in a while. If I have a 5-ounce toothpaste tube that's halfway full, I'm taking it. My logic is that if it does get confiscated, I'll have to go out and buy a new one. But if I don't risk it at all, I still have to go out and buy a new one. I guess if you want to avoid all risk or ever having to go out and buy specifically a travel size toothpaste or other creams, then you can buy some of those TSA approved refillable containers and just refill them each time. Speaking of which, most travelers don't realize that there's actually a ton of exceptions to the 311 rule where you can actually bring more quantity. I'll list all those exceptions on the screen. Just make sure you mention to the officer beforehand that you have them, and they'll screen them separately. This is especially useful for travelers with medical needs or families traveling with young children. We've used this rule a lot ourselves, traveling with a baby when we needed a bunch of milk and formula and sterilized water to last through a long day. By the way, if you're traveling with medicines or medical devices, there's some critical rules you need to know of to avoid your stuff getting confiscated or worse. I break down all the travel medication rules for domestic and international flights in this video. So to avoid making any easy mistakes, make sure to watch that one next. Like, subscribe, do the things. Love you. Bye-bye.